Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Diana Andes, and today I'm joined with Raina Rauf, and we are going to cover a very important topic today. A lot of times, home buyers, when they're purchasing a home, they wait until the last minute to get homeowners insurance. And today we're going to say, like, this is not just a checkbox you need to check off. It's something you need to think about. You're making the largest purchase of your life and a big investment, and we need that peace of mind. So thank you so much, Raina, for joining us today.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. Nice to see you and all your audience here.
Yes, absolutely. So, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Raina Rauf. I'm an Allstate insurance agent. I've been an agent for about 18 years now. I'm also a mom and a small business owner. So I really connect with families who are juggling a lot and just want to feel secure. I got into the insurance business because I love helping people protect what matters most, their homes, their cars, and of course, their families. I love sitting down with people and just having an open, honest conversation. And what's important to you. How do we make insurance, which might be a complex topic, make it simple? And I want to empower people with education and make sure that they understand what they're buying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do find like a lot of times, like on the real estate side, when we're working with clients like buyers, we're so busy like doing all the things like the mortgage and the commitment and the inspections and doing all that negotiation stuff. And then the last minute, they're like, oh, I need homeowners insurance. And it always seems like a panic to try and find something. Do you see that a lot on your end as well?
I do. And it's really important for realtors to educate their buyers that just start ahead of time. Um, it's, as you said, it's your biggest asset and you're protecting it and you want to make sure that you do it the right way. You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not over $1 million on the property. And why leave it to last minute? You may get something, not get something, especially now, the way the insurance market is working out. Many companies are pulling back on writing homeowners insurance in the state, or they're restricting the amount of coverage that they'll offer. So it's good to give yourself enough time and just don't leave it last minute to chance, because you may get something, you may not get something. The cost might be even more than what you anticipated. Rates have gone up. So as you're working with your mortgage lender, you want to make sure that all the numbers make sense also. You don't want to be at the closing table and realize that you can't close because the expenses are just not in line with what the mortgage will allow. So that's really something to take into consideration today.
Right. And you need insurance to close, correct?
Yes, that is
Is
absolutely
there
correct. The
ever
mortgage will
instances,
not let you close
okay,
without insurance.
is there ever instances where you don't need it?
I would say there's no instance where you don't need insurance. Even if your mortgage is paid off, you still need insurance unless you're independently wealthy and if there's a fire, your home burns down, you have millions of dollars to pay for repairs. By all means, if you're okay with self-insuring, that's the only time I would say don't have it. But even misconception is I have a condo, I don't need insurance, the condo insurance covers, or the
Yes.
association. That's not true. The association will just cover the outside of the structure. They don't cover your personal contents or your belongings in the home. So if there's a fire, you lose all of your clothes and pots and pans, everything's gone, that has to be replaced, and that's expensive. Along with that, the the association policy won't cover any sort of liability inside your home. So if someone were to slip and fall in your home and get injured and sue you, that's not covered by the association. So there's definitely things that are part of the association policy that they cover. So the condo insurance is going to be less expensive than home insurance because you're not insuring the whole structure, but you definitely need insurance in every situation.
Great. I mean, I know that I kind of was trying to lead into that because that is the question I get asked most. Oh, you always say, yes, you need insurance, but usually when people are buying the townhouse or the condo, that's when they kind of push back, like, do I really need it? Because I'm already buying the HOA, like insurance and stuff like that. So I'm really glad you clarified that for everybody.
Yes. And another point with that, even if the association policy covers the condo structure, they may cover, from the walls in or walls out. So there's different types of coverage even within that. They may cover up to builder's grade, but if you've upgraded to wood floors, granite countertops, they may not cover that. So there's a lot of nuances within the policy. So I always recommend get a copy of the policy from your association, and then we're happy to sit down and review it with you and see what's covered and not.
Right. So are there different types of insurances that people can purchase for their home, and how does that vary? And
Mhm. Yeah, so there's different types of policies based on what your needs are. So we offer renters insurance policies. So for people that are renting homes, please do not overlook if you are renting, you also need insurance for the same exact reasons. So your personal property is covered, your liability is covered. You leave candles burning on overnight and you forget and you cause a fire, 3 units down, someone's got to pay for that. So that's
right.
what liability is for. So that's covered in the renter's insurance. The next type of policy is the condo policy, which we just talked about. And then the last type of policy is a homeowner insurance policy. And that covers your whole structure. If you have a detached garage, a shed, a fence, liability. We have other types of riders that we add on to the policy. So, for example, we offer what's called a service line coverage. And I've seen American Water or the water companies offer this, but our policies actually you can add it into the policy itself, and it's good coverage for a good price. And that's the line that goes from the street to your home, the water line and utility line. And we even cover the lines, especially in this area, there's a lot of septic systems. So we cover the lines going out to the septic as well. So not all policies cover that. It's not automatically included. So I would definitely say to check with your insurance company to see what you have.
Right.
And then the other big policy that we're really talking to customers a lot about now is flood insurance. No homeowner policy covers flood, and with the amount of rain we've had here, the ground is so saturated that our rivers and canals just cannot hold all that water. So flood doesn't necessarily mean flood that's coming from the coastal area at a beach, which yes, that's flood also. But people tend to forget that all these rivers overflow quite often, as you've seen around town. There's water everywhere, so don't overlook flood insurance.
Is there something like, now when someone sells a home on the seller's disclosure, they are required to mark off if they're in a flood zone. That's no, you can't write unknown anymore. You have to check and disclose that. Now, what I think there's always some confusion about, like, if the house has flooded before and they have a claim with FEMA or something like that, can they still be insured? Like, can you give a little bit more insight about how that works?
They can get insured, yes. So we can still insure them through the National Flood Insurance Program. We also have private flood companies, private flood insurance companies that will insure them. So we're happy to take a look and get the information for you. I would say everybody's in a flood zone. It's just, are you high risk or low risk? So there's different categories. So we can look at the flood maps and help you figure that out.
Okay,
Especially if claims, we can look at that as well.
all right, good stuff to know. And then now another question that's been coming up a lot is, like, a lot of people are talking about how their homeowners insurance is reaching out to them to replace their roofs. Like,
Oh, yes. That is a hot topic for all of us and one that we talk about every day. With all the storms coming through and the wind, there's shingles that get blown off and we're seeing so many roofs that are leaking and a lot of claims coming in for roofs specifically. So many companies are now not even insuring homes that have a roof over 15 years old, 20 years old. If it's more than 20 years old, then they may not offer a full replacement coverage on the roof, or they may ask you to just replace the roof. A lot of companies are just flat out saying we're not doing it anymore. They've taken so many losses on that, a lot of claims from roof, so they're very strict on roofs.
okay, that explains it. We purchased our home 4 years ago, and we did get a letter from our homeowners insurance saying we had to replace the roof. And I'm like, but the roof's fine. And they said, unless you could provide a receipt of when it was done, it had to be replaced. So of course we didn't have that. So we ended up paying a roof inspector to come to basically say if we need to replace or not. And it was like $300 later, he still said we need to replace it. So
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I should have just done it in the first place and saved myself the $300. But
Yeah, yeah.
what are some other big items that you think, the roof's important? Is something else that a home buyer should be careful of when they're shopping?
I would say, like I said, start early, ask the questions. The other coverage we offer is water backup in a basement. Not all companies offer that, so see if that's included in your policy or you can add that on, especially After Sandy, about 10, 12 years ago, we saw a lot of claims coming in for water backup, and that's where there's so much rainfall coming in that water backs up from the sump pump
Mhm.
and just, you have water all over your basement. So I would look out for something like that to see if the policy includes it, because the pumps just can't keep up and up. Even if you have flat battery backup, it may not be able to continue. So definitely, waterproofing or some sort of system to get the water out of the basement. Fortunately, with all the rain, there's just water playing constantly. The other thing I would look out for home buyers is, are there a lot of big trees around the property? Because with the wind and water, we're seeing a lot of trees falling down too, with tornadoes coming in where trees are being uprooted and getting thrown onto houses. So if you do have big trees or limbs overhanging your roof, just get that cleaned up
Is that
before you.
something, would that be something that the insurance company would maybe send someone out and they would tell you that you need to cut these trees or trim them back?
They would, yeah, yeah. If it's a new home purchase, they would do either, now they're doing more aerial inspections or drone type inspections versus sending out an inspector, or the inspector will call on the phone if it's a higher value home, or they may come out. It just depends on the situation of the home. Uh, but they would tell you that these limbs are overhanging, and with our company, every few years we go back and do a re-inspection for those exact purposes to make
Got
sure that there's no damage. But at the same time, homeowners should also maintain the property and be aware of what's going around them. Say, hey, it looks like this tree's coming down. Let me proactively take care of it. Because if you know that there's an issue and you don't address it, the insurance company may say, well, that's part of your responsibility as a homeowner to make sure that your property is free from any potential claim issues.
Okay, so if I'm hearing this correctly, it's like I could purchase home insurance right now, but then every 4 years you would come back out and reassess the property, make sure it's still in good shape.
Good shape, yes. Not necessarily 4 years, but whatever their timing is.
Like,
Again, they look
okay,
at the age of the home, the location of the home. So there's a lot of factors that come into it. But yes, they will come out and reinspect it, which is a good thing, because you want to make sure that the home is in good condition and safe. You don't want
yeah.
anyone injured in the middle of the night with the tree falling down while you're sitting.
Does
That would
the
not.
age, is the age of a home factor into the insurance too?
It does. It does. Older homes are getting more difficult to insure, which is an issue we're seeing in New Jersey, because there are a lot of older homes. So companies may not want to insure an older home. It might be limited coverage you would get, or might be more expensive to insure. So if there's things like an older HVAC system, older piping in the home, definitely get that replaced to more modern standards. Same with the electrical and wiring. There's old homes with knob and tube. They need to be upgraded to the modern electrical system.
So is there like a questionnaire, like when they're purchasing, I guess, the home or purchasing insurance, that you would ask all these questions about their electrical
If it
and
is an older home, we will ask. Most
okay.
of the newer homes, have been upgraded, but generally we look back, 20 plus years. If it's a very old home, we want to see some replacement within fast place.
So, sorry. And then with all state insurance, if they're, let's say they're buying their home, is there like options to bundle their car insurance or other things together?
Absolutely. Yes, yes. So we do car insurance, home insurance, umbrella insurance, which is an important policy. I don't know if you know about that, but that gives you additional liability protection over your home, your auto. I especially like that coverage for people with young drivers. If they get into accidents and the parent gets sued beyond the policy limits on your auto insurance policy, you get an added layer of at least $1 million of protection, which protects you. That's why umbrella is important. Or even people with swimming pools, I highly recommend getting umbrella coverage. Unfortunately, I've seen a few situations where people have drowned in the swimming pools,
Mhm.
and the homeowners insurance policy paid the liability claim, but they also had an umbrella policy where that policy paid the additional $1 million. So
Does the umbrella policy also cover like an investment property or things like that? Or
to
it's
cover investment properties.
okay, cool, really good stuff.
Yeah, we do that home. We also do life insurance and
Okay.
financial. Yeah, so we're a full service agency. We do everything. business insurance. So whatever people need, it's, we try to do everything for them in house. We have a really great team
Mhm.
of agents in our office. So it's nice. We all work together. We're a family. We're a family business.
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
love that you're in Montgomery, so I always love giving referrals to people in our town because you got to support the other working moms, about working neighbors, friends, and things like that.
Yes,
So
I
thank you.
wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. Awesome. I don't know if there's anything else you feel like I missed or you want to talk about.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. Just getting out there in the community, and I'm really big on educating people. The more you know, the better the informed decision you can make. And insurance doesn't have to be scary. You can talk about it. It's okay. We're here to help you. Work with someone that's knowledgeable, that knows the local market in the area. I've had my real estate license for over 20 years. I used to sell real estate also, so I understand, from a realtor's perspective, what they're going through and the process. But it also helps me really understand the features of your home.
Mhm.
Yes, on the outside, homes could be completely same, but there's so many features within the home, and there's different features within the insurance policies. People say, oh, everything's the same. They're just shopping for price, but price doesn't necessarily equate good coverage or the proper coverage for you. So, happy to sit down. If I can do something for you, great. Otherwise, I'll just look at what you have. If it's good, I'll say stay where you are. It's good. If it's something I can do better for you, I'm happy to do that.
Right. And if someone wants to reach out to you, can you share your information, please?
Absolutely. So my office phone number is 609-655-4300. And my email is really, really simple. It's Raina, Raina, at allstate.com. So
Awesome.
Raina at allstate.com.
Awesome. I'll post that information too in the comments or and things like that so they can find you. And thank you again, Raina, for coming on and sharing your knowledge about homeowners insurance and all the other different kinds of insurances out there. It was really helpful, and I hope this was informative for everybody else as well.
Yep, I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.